don't touch that dial. We've got at least 300 reasons to stay tuned. Maddox looking for a milestone. Dusty's back by the bay. Nomar's got a new team. But wait, there's more. Barry and Sammy on the same field. Welcome inside the Fox Network Center. I'm Jeannie Zalaska along with Kevin Kennedy. It is Fox Saturday Baseball, your game of the week. He is a skinny kid, a righty who really doesn't even throw 95 miles per hour. He barely hits 90 on the radar gun. Ready to take a pass, fantasy leaguers? Congratulations, he just waved off Greg Maddox. Poised to collect the big 300.
I know it sounds like a big number, but I'm not going to view myself any different if I win 299 or 305. I mean, I'm going to still look in the mirror and see the same person. So, let's just take it for what it is and realize that it's not about winning 300 this year. It's about going to postseason and getting another crack. Maybe we'll get a chance to face the Braves. Who knows?
We saw Roger Clemens get number 300 last year, one of 21 men to do it. Well, Maddox can do it today. If he does, yes, he'd be one of 22 to do it. What I like, the 2.93 earned run average over 19 years in this day of the long ball, plus the 13 gold gloves, helping himself out defensively, getting those wins.
Gorgeous Saturday in San Francisco. Fox Saturday Baseball presents the Chicago Cubs and the San Francisco Giants. Two teams who reached the postseason a year ago, and both have plans on getting back there this year. The Cubs lead the Giants in the wild card by 2 games beginning play here today. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Steve Lyons, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Baseball on Fox, a playoff-like series, and further enhanced by the fact that Greg Maddux, who started his career in 1986 with the Cubs, back with the Cubs again, and Steve today tries to become a 22nd pitcher ever to win 300 games in a career.
That is so amazing to me to know that only 21 other guys in the history of the game have ever won 300 games. But let's put it in further perspective. Last night, Jason Schmidt won his 100th game for the Giants last night. And I think everybody will agree that Jason Schmidt is one of the more dominating pitchers in the game today. But in order for him to win 300 games at the same age that Maddox could win 300, he would have to win 29 games a year every year until he's 38. Awfully difficult.
The amazing Greg Maddux today goes for win number 300 against one of the great sluggers of all time, Barry Bonds. Sammy and the Cubbies in town for Game 2 of this weekend set next on Fox. Welcome back to SBC Park in San Francisco. A homecoming for Dusty Baker. He managed the Giants for 10 years, left to take over the Cubs last year and led them all the way to the National League Championship Series. His lineup today brought to you by Citibank. Corey Patterson now batting leadoff in center field. Nomar Garcia-Parra is at short. He came over a week ago today. Moises Alou in left field. Sammy Sosa is in right. The red-hot Aramis Ramirez at third. Derek Lee at first, with a ladder third of Todd Walker, Paul Bacco, and Greg Maddox. Felipe Alou starting lineup brought to you by Citibank. Ray Durham at second. Ricky Leday in right. JT Snow at first. Barry Bonds in left field. Edgardo Alfonso at third. A.J. Pierzynski catching. Marquise Grissom in center field. Davey Cruz a shortstop. And Brad Hennessey on the mound. 299 wins in the Hall of Fame career of Greg Maddux. 4 consecutive Cy Young Awards. His first came with the Cubs in his last season as a Cub, then won 3 in a row thereafter in Atlanta. Came back to the Cubs this season. In his career, he has struggled most frequently in the first inning. It's strike 1 to Ray Durham. And it's interesting to note the Giants have scored more first inning runs than in any other inning during their season this year.
And Ray Durham with 6 leadoff homers this year.
80 runs this season in the opening inning for the Giants. And Maddox in his career has allowed 286 runs in the first, the most of any inning. 2 balls and a strike, and that held true last week when Maddox went for win number 300 the first time against Philadelphia. He gave up a couple of home runs in the opening inning. In the air, right field by Durham. Drifting back is Sosa. Not going to get it off the wall. This may be 3. Durham making a turn, coming to third. He's in there with a triple.
Ray Durham has the kind of power that could be a number 3 or maybe a number 5 hitter. Felipe Alou has messed around with the idea of that, but his speed at the top of the order is something that he relishes and wants to have him at the top of that order. Look at the swing. That ball out over the middle of the plate. Durham thought he had a chance, and then off the bricks out there, he says this is going to be an easy triple with the kind of speed that Durham has.
Sixth 3-base hit of the season for Ray Durham, and now Ricky Leday getting the start today in right field. The Cubs infield conceding the run unless it's hit right to the third baseman Aramis Ramirez. You see him there, a step on the grass at third. Everybody else will give away the run and take the out.
A glaring contrast in these two ball clubs, Tom. The Giants get the hits or do the fundamental things to get runners in when they have them on base. The Cubs have done a poor job of that throughout the entire season, of moving runners over and getting them in when they have to.
Those were the numbers we mentioned a moment ago before the leadoff triple by Durham, who stands at third with nobody out. Rolled foul by Leday, 2-1. Told you Maddox trying to become the 22nd pitcher in Major League history to record 300 wins. He would be the first National League pitcher to accomplish the feat since Steve Carlton 21 years ago. 2-2 on Leday. He would be the second Cub to reach the milestone, as Grove old Pete Alexander also did so in his last win of the 1924 season. Coincidentally, it came against the Giants.
Tommy, I think the very real possibility exists that we will never see another 300-game winner. Possibly Tommy Glavine, his former teammate, who needs 41 more victories. Glavine is the type of guy that will pitch until his arm falls off to get the 300.
Fouled away. Still 3-2 on Leday.
Check out the scouting report on Greg Maddux. Throws strikes early in the count. That's why he conserves his arm. Doesn't have to throw many pitches. He's the master of control. We all know that. He works both sides of the plate as good as anybody. And the changeup is the equalizer. And when you watch that Fox box and you see the 83 miles an hour, that's his fastball. That's the change.
And gone swinging is Leday for the first out of the inning.
Watch the movement of the changeup. Down and away from the left-handed hitter. So difficult to pick up. The hand motion. Circle change, letting it roll off the outer fingers, the pinky fingers, as you pronate the arm and get the ball to spin the other direction.
Tall challenge now for Maddox. It's JT Snow. One of the hottest hitters in all of baseball since coming off the DL June the 25th. He's hit .365 and he looks at strike one.
He was talking yesterday and said, you know, nobody ever really talks about you when you're in the lineup every day, and then when you're not in the lineup, as he has been in and out, he says they only talk about you when you're not playing if you're hitting well. He said that's the way it's been right now, and I still haven't been able to get in that lineup consistently.
Fastball in, 1-1. Barry Bonds waiting in the on-deck circle. Runner at third, one out here in the bottom of the first inning. On the outside corner, and Snow having words with Ted Barrett last night. JT continued his hot hitting. Homered off Matt Clement. Came in the fifth.
Boy, that looked like the playoff home run he hit a few years ago against the New York Mets. Of course, they went on to lose that ball game, but that was a huge home run, and he ran down the baseline exactly the same way.
There's that cut fastball. Then Maddox starts at a left-handed hitter. It looks as though it's going to hit the left-handed hitter and then moves back over the inside part of the plate. It is a devastating pitch. It's a beautiful pitch to watch on television. bottom fell out of that pitch. Gone swinging. Or are they saying foul tip? He foul tipped it.
Maddox certainly, over the history of the game, is not the only guy to try that pitch. Here's a changeup that JT Snow just gets a piece of. But certainly, over the last 19 seasons, Maddox has been the best at that comeback fastball that you were talking about. Throw it in off the belt buckle of a left-handed hitter, watch it tail back and nip the inside part of the plate. It freezes left-handers. They can't pull the trigger on it.
Big pitch here from Maddox. Runner at third, one out in the inning, and the 2-2 coming to JT Snow. Full count. Barry Bonds has hit more career home runs against Greg Maddux than any other batter the right-hander has faced in his career. Barry waiting in the on-deck circle. Payoff pitch to Snow is ball 4. Bonds may get a chance to swing the bat. Let's go all the way back to June 20th of 1987. Bonds with the Pirates. Maddox his first go-round with the Cubs. And here's Harry Carey.
With the Cubs. There's a pitch, swung on a long drive, left center field, way back near the fence. Jerry leaps high in the air and it's gone. A home run into the back.
I don't want to start any rumors here, Tom, but did you see how skinny Greg Maddux was there? You kidding me?
So what are you saying?
I'm not saying anything. He was thin way back then.
Oh, the amazing Barry Bonds. With 2 on and 1 out here in the opening inning. In the air, straight away center field. It'll stay in the park, but bring a run in. Patterson shy of the track. Tagging and scoring, Ray Durham. Give Bonds his 67th run batted in. Giants lead 1-0.
This is what we talked about a moment ago, the fundamental baseball that the Giants play. If they get a guy on base, they find a way to get him in. They get the clutch hits, they get the clutch sacrifice flies. As you watch Bonds, as that ball tails away from him, gets it out off the end of the bat a little bit, but does the job and gets the run home.
So Maddox surrendering a run here in the opening inning, and the Giants, as if on cue, have scored more runs in the opening inning than any other inning this season, and an early 1-0 lead. Well, look at Maddox in his career, the ERA in the first, then all the other innings this season. An earned run average in the first inning of over 6, and thereafter under 3.5. It's an old adage in baseball, if you're going to get the great ones, you better get them early. 1-0 the count on Edgardo Alfonzo. Low and away, but called a strike on the outside corner. We talk about it all the time. The pitcher's mound is the only place in professional sports where a person that is going to work on the field or on the court in any other game, the pitcher never gets the chance to go out at that exact position on the field and get warmed up for a game, to prepare for a game. The shortstops, they take ground balls. In basketball, they'll shoot at both ends of the courts. Tennis, golf, you'll have practice rounds. A pitcher warms up in the bullpen and gets maybe 8 throws from the pitching mound.
And pitchers will tell you that those mounds vary from ballpark to ballpark without question.
1-2. And now the count even on Edgardo Alfonzo. Incidentally, this season, when Greg Maddux has allowed at least a run in the first inning, his record is 1-5 in those starts. Still 2-2.
Got away with a mistake right there. That ball out over the plate for Alfonzo. Maddox so far in this inning struggling with that control. We talked about look at where it's set up, and that ball is right down Broadway. Thrown 25 pitches already in this inning, which is also very uncharacteristic of a Maddox ball game.
2-2 to Edgardo Alfonso. And it's muscled down the left field line. It'll fall in fair for a base hit. Alou giving chase. On his way to third, JT Snow, and pulling up with a double, Edgardo Alfonso.
Maddox trying to get in on Alfonso. This ball's going to tail in on the hands, but watch Alfonso just pull the hands quicker and closer to his body. Watch the adjustment in the swing and just muscle that ball into left field. Worked hard to try to get the fat part of the bat on that ball, even though he still got jammed. He got enough on it to get it over the head of the third baseman and down the line for a double.
Maddox had to leave his last start pitching against the Phillies on a brutally hot and humid day. At the end of 6 innings, he was just gassed. He said maybe I could have gone out there and hoped they hit the ball at somebody, but he was more concerned about his team winning the game, which the Cubs wound up doing. But a pile of pitches here in the opening inning today on a much more pleasant weather day. Strike one to A.J. Pierzynski.
In that same ball game, Sammy Sosa came out of the ball game late with dizziness. You don't see Sammy Sosa coming out of too many ball games.
A.J. a .371 batter with runners in scoring position, 4th best in the National League. And that one just missed him. Spectacular SBC Park here in downtown San Francisco. Runners at second and third, and it's in the air down the left field line. That ball slicing away from Alou. And he makes a running grab. Running over the bullpen mound. What a play that was by Alou. But Maddox gives up a run. The Giants strand 2 and lead 1-0. Giants come to bat bottom half of the second inning against Greg Maddux, leading 1-0, and it's ball 1 to Marquise Grissom. Latter third in the batting order coming up. Grissom, Davy Cruz, and Brad Hennessey. Maddox threw 29 pitches in the opening inning. On the ground down to third. Ramirez throws high, but Lee makes a tag for the first out of the inning. Major League Baseball on Fox is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Lose the carbs, not the taste. Grissom set down to open up the second inning, and here comes Davy Cruz. Boy, what a year this guy's having. Basically saw 0 playing time early in the year when the Giants brought him on board. But carries a .290 batting average with 24 runs batted in. Garcia-Parra throws in time for out number 2.
And one of the reasons why Greg Maddux has been such an outstanding pitcher over his 19 seasons is the great changeup, and Scooter's going to tell you about what a changeup's all about.
Hello, friends. It's Scooter. A changeup is just another word for a slow ball. While the batter is looking for a real fast pitch, the pitcher throws me really, really slow.
Brad Hennessey looks at a fastball, strike 1.
We were talking earlier about checking out the Fox box at the top of your screen and the miles per hour on that. A lot of times Maddox's fastball will look like everyone else's changeup. 83 miles an hour. In the playoffs last season, when we had Josh Beckett throwing a 97 mile an hour fastball and a 90 mile an hour change.
Same thing we saw from Jason Schmidt here last night.
And Schmidt has become basically a 2-pitch pitcher, and that's what he uses.
2-1 delivery is high. 3 balls and a strike to Hennessey. Well, Maddox cruising along here, getting Grissom on a ground ball to third, Cruz on a grounder to short, and only thrown 4 pitches to get the first 2 outs of the inning. And now has gone 3-1 on his counterpart, Brad Hennessey. Boy, how about being Brad Hennessey? Maybe not later today, but right now. Bottom of the second inning, you're beating Greg Maddux, you face him at the plate, and you're on base. Well, September 7, 1986. Look at Greg Maddux, old Riverfront Stadium. His first win, a complete game against the Cincinnati Reds. He allowed 11 hits and 3 runs. Sal Butera ending that game on a double play ball. Sean Dunston, Ryan Sandberg and company coming over to say attaboy. 298 wins ago.
Maybe it's possible that in 19 seasons from now we'll be rolling back this game, talking about Hennessey's very first victory.
You never know. You never know.
I'll tell you what, Tom, Maddox so far in the early going is really struggling with location. We talked about that in his scouting report. He owns both sides of the plate, has had trouble hitting the corners today.
2-1 to Ray Durham. .41 pitches now for Maddox, and there you see the balls and strikes. Steve, precisely what you were just talking about. Only one more strike than ball. Pulled foul. Bald dude down there a little tardy. It's hard to get off those little seats they give him, though. They got to keep them low enough not to block the fans sitting right behind him.
It's not the seat. It was hard to get his stomach out of the way to go over there and make that play.
Now, why do you got to be that way?
It's the truth.
2-2 to Durham. Popped up. Man, you are cold. Left side of the infield. Garcia Parra's got it. Nomar and company coming up in the third. When we return to San Francisco, we'll take a break from your local Fox station. Park in San Francisco, the Giants trying to spoil Greg Maddox's attempt at winning 300 games. First pitch swinging, a broken bat by Ricky Leday. 1 pitch and 1 out. Maddox trailing 1-0 in his second go round for win number 300. I'd like to remind you our regional coverage of Fox Saturday Baseball comes your way a week from today at 1 Eastern, noon Central, 10 Pacific. The Dodgers and the Cubs from Wrigley Field. Some will see the Giants and Phillies, others the Cardinals and Braves. And for those out west and back in New York, it'll be the Yankees and the Seattle Mariners from Safeco Field.
Boy, Tommy, we talk about the great reactions and the Gold Glove of Greg Maddox. I don't think he saw this bat come back at him. Look at the reaction. I don't think he picked that bat up until the very last second. You imagine if you don't see it, you don't pick it up, and it just comes straight back at you. Wow.
J.T. Snow lifts a fly ball down the left field line, and it is fair. Alou over to pick it up. And Snow a big turn, but will stop at first base with a 1-out single. And now Barry Bonds. Maddox has surrendered the most home runs to Bonds than any other batter he's faced through the years, 8 of them. Walked him 22 times. Only Tony Gwynn more base hits against Maddox than Barry Bonds. Blowing away for ball 1. Now those numbers are a little bit deceptive, in that the first 7 years Bonds was in the league against Maddox, Bonds wore him out. It has been a dramatically different story since then. Bonds has not even hit 200 against him since 1994.
And just 2 home runs in those 10 years as well.
There you get a look. 204 from 94 to now 04. Bonds a sac fly RBI his first time up today. And he looks at a strike. Bonds number 3 on the all-time home run list. Now 687. Next up, Babe Ruth at 714. And of course, Henry Aaron, the all-time home run king, at 755. A legitimate shot, more than legitimate shot now for Bonds.
Talk about Bonds' numbers against Maddox. If you look at the lineup that the Giants are throwing out there today against him, in their careers, they're .316 hitters against Maddox. Not too shabby.
Not bad at all. 3-1 to Bonds. And he draws a walk. It's amazing what Bonds has done not only in his career, but as he's gotten older, compared with some of the greats of all time. The numbers are overwhelming.
Look at the pitch by pitch to Bonds. Change up, down and away. Another change up, down. He's just going to make sure he keeps the ball down again. And then the 3-1 pitch, which I just think is amazing. You're going to see it coming up right here. Bonds is taking. He was taking on 3-1. No intention of swinging at any pitch that Maddox threw up there in that count. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do that intentionally.
There's strike one to Edgardo Alfonso. Now this is a little busy, but all you need to look at, the numbers there in the middle in yellow. The number of home runs that Bonds has hit the last 4 years of his career compared to roughly the same time frame for all the great sluggers, or a handful of the great sluggers in the history of the game. Swinging a foul ball back. All of them at 40-something. Bonds just turned 40 on July the 24th. But 90 more home runs than the Babe.
Well, Babe looks good, though. Doesn't he?
He always looked good. 0-2 to Edgardo Alfonso with 2 on and 1 out. Fouled out of play. Talking to Don Sutton last night. Sutton, of course, a 300 game winner in his career, a Hall of Famer, and had a chance to broadcast just about every game Greg Maddux pitched during his tenure with the Atlanta Braves. Don Sutton was always thought of as a professor like out there on the mound during his career. Very smart, very heady, knew what was going on at all times around him. And he had a great line talking about Maddox last night. He said, I thought that I knew what I was doing out there on the mound during my career. He said, compared to Maddox, I got an honors degree at a junior college. He said, Maddox got a doctorate degree from an Ivy League school. Sutton said he's never seen or been around anyone like Greg Maddux out there on that mound. Pulled foul.
I was talking to Kent Merker earlier today about Maddox's changeup, and he says he really believes he throws 2 of them. With the position of his pinky finger on the ball, he says most of his changeups go down and away to a left-handed hitter. He said he's seen him cut that ball and make it act almost like a slider down and into a lefty by the way he places that last finger on it. And we watch the release point of this pitch right here out of the hand of Greg Maddux. You see the ball rotate in the opposite direction and go down and into a righty. Maddux says when that happens, if it goes down and into a lefty, it's by accident. Merker says no way.
Base hit in the right field by Alfonso. They're going to wave around JT Snow. Sosa's throw coming to the plate. Not going to be in time. Throw to third, and he's out there. So it's 2-0 Giants on the run-scoring single by Edgardo Alfonso. But Bonds cut down trying to go first to third, and it didn't look like he was going first to third all that hard.
Now watch Bonds get to second. He's looking for this ball to come into the cutoff man. He has a good idea right here when he sees it's a high throw, but he gets a late jump doing it. As you mentioned, going from first to second. If he maybe had hustled a little bit more getting there, he would have had a better idea and would have viewed the play better on the opposite side of second base.
A.J. Przinsky hammers one into right center field, and Sosa's not going to get it. On his way to third, Alfonso, they're going to wave him around. Here comes the throw to the plate. It gets by the cutoff man, and on to third goes Przinsky. 3-0 Giants.
Brzezinski just hammers this ball. Look at location again. Way away from where Paul Bacco wanted that pitch. Sammy got no chance to catch this ball. It's hit way too hard. But if the fundamentals are there for the Cubs, they would get Brzezinski at third. This ball gets past the cutoff man. You look at where Brzezinski is. He's dead at third if they just cut the ball off. Boy, that's a good sound, though. Brzezinski at that point may have been thinking, I'll trade the out, which will be me, for the run score. Meaning he would let them cut the ball off and get him out at third, but the run would score before he would be out.
Grissom, a slow roller foul up the third baseline. 3 runs and 5 hits for the Giants against Greg Maddux. His second try for his 300th career win. He got a no decision his last time out against Philadelphia. He allowed 3 runs, 2 of them earned in 6 innings, but just ran out of gas on a very hot day through only 87 pitches in the 6th inning. 1-1 to Grissom. It's a big series for the Giants. They moved Jason Schmidt up a day and got him to start here last night, trying to set the tone for this series, which he did with less in his best. Admittedly so last night. But the Giants starting this series 3 games behind the Cubs in the wild card race. Got the win, now within 2, and they've got a 3-0 lead. And they have Maddox working hard.
Well, the thinking there was to get the first win of the series, and they did.
2 more in the Giant third. They lead Maddox 3-0. A look at McCovey Cove. Here at SBC Park in San Francisco, where Brad Hennessey looking for his first big league win here today, besting Greg Maddux through the front 3 in a 3-0 lead. That one down the right field line, a fair ball off the bat of Aramis Ramirez. Throw in his second base offline, and Ramirez with a hustling double. And a broken back hustling double.
This is a scary play for a player running the bases. Ramirez sees the ball going down the right field line, so he's watching it, not really taking a turn. He's hustling. Now he has bases closing up a little bit. The dog days are upon us.
Runner goes, and it's pulled down the right field line, and it is a fair ball. It'll go to the wall. Ramirez scores. Lee being waved around. He'll score. Walker on his way to third. A 2-run triple, and it's a 1-run game. Giants come to bat here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. First pitch swinging. Davey Cruz, a high hopper down to Aramis Ramirez. 1 gone against Greg Maddux.
All right, now this is classic Maddox. Throws strikes early on and gets guys to take swings like this. That's an excuse me hack on the first pitch of the at-bat. There are a lot of first pitch swingers. I was myself, but you got to get a better pitch than that. If you're going to go up hacking on your first pitch, you got to get dead red and air it out.
Ball 1 to Brad Hennessey, who walked his first time up. 3 runs and 5 hits for the Giants against Maddux. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Cubs against Brad Hennessey. A ball and a strike. Maddux, a Cubs 2nd-round draft choice back in 1984. The scout who signed him, Doug Mapson, got him out of Valley High in Las Vegas. High hopper foul up the third baseline. Spent 84 in Pikeville, 85 in Peoria, 86 started in Double-A. Went to Triple-A, came to the major leagues. Told you he got his first complete game win against Cincinnati that year. The following year, he lost 14 games and had an ERA of over 5.5. Now, do you think anybody could have honestly told you, and there are those that'll tell you, hey, I thought he'd be a good pitcher. Dick Pohl, now the bullpen coach for the Cubs, and of course he'd been around a long time, and he was Maddox's pitching coach both in the minor leagues and at the major league level with the Cubs. Thought he would be an outstanding pitcher. But when you watch a guy's first full year and he's getting banged around the way Maddox did, I mean, are you thinking that's a 300 game winner?
No chance. And Maddox wanted that call right there too for strike 3 against the opposing pitcher in his first game ever. Didn't matter.
Got it anyway. Time now for our multi-award winning rendition of the Pepsi Fan Cam.
What awards has the Fan Cam won?
The list is so long.
Oh, out in McCovey Cove.
No wedding out there today. It's when you misidentified the groom a couple of years ago. In the air, Sammy coming on, couldn't find it initially. Now he does so. And somebody's got to pick up his lid.
Well, the bride was kissing everybody. What would you do?
On the ground into center field, a base hit, and we are tied as Garcia Parra comes home on the base hit by Aramis Ramirez.
That is hot too.
That ball hammered into deep right center field, back to the wall and off against the bricks. Ricochets to Grissom. On his way to third is Ramirez, and he will score. The Cubs have given Greg Maddux a 4-3 lead here in the 5th inning. His second try today for his 300th career win up against Hennessey, making his big league debut. One and 0 to Derek Lee. Pitch on the way and fouled out of play. Well, we have a moment. Our Budweiser Fantasy Player of the Week is Mike Cameron of the New York Mets. Log on to foxsports.com, keyword fantasy baseball. And today's game brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. I was giving him a chance to give that last line there, Psycho. Hot, 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 hot.
I knew you were a big Ashford and Simpson fan. That is hot too.
That ball hammered into deep right center field, back to the wall and off against the bricks. Ricochets to Grissom. On his way to third is Ramirez, and he will score. The Cubs have given Greg Maddux a 4-3 lead here in the 5th inning.
Another ball left in the middle of the plate. Watch Pierzynski's reaction as soon as he sees it. Watch him tap his glove saying, that's not where I wanted it. And a great job by Grissom on the carom off the wall. Look at the positioning of Marquise Grissom. Didn't matter, couldn't get the ball in time to cut down the run at the plate. But Grissom does a better job than anybody in this ballpark of knowing where the ball's going to bounce off the wall.
Big 2-out hits here in the Cub 5th inning by Ramirez and Lee to chase Hennessey. Cubs 4, Giants 3. Walker comes on from the pen.
Tommy Hennessey did a great job, but look at Pierzynski. That's Ramirez's base hit and positioning again of the pitch. Wants it down and away to Lee. Doesn't happen. Both balls get hit hard.
Well, you got to wonder if Maddox is okay over there talking to the Cub trainer in the dugout. Maddox left after 6 innings. We talked about his last start. This ball hammered off the bat of Corey Patterson, and it is long gone in the McCovey Cove. Patterson, number 13. And the Cubs extend their lead. It's now 6-3. Greg Maddux climbs the hill, takes the ball, turns it loose to begin the bottom of the 6th inning, now with a 6-3 lead. He's retired the last 7 batters since giving up the RBI double to A.J. Pierzynski in the 2-run third. 78th pitch of the game by Maddux is hit sharply, knocked down by Ramirez, but he can't find it. That'll be an infield hit undoubtedly for Edgardo Alfonzo, his 3rd hit today.
Ramirez mad at himself only because he couldn't find the ball. This is a bullet, 1 hopper hit at him, eats him up. Great view of it here. Great effort to make the play, and now he just can't find it. I think that's why they call it the hot corner.
Now A.J. Pierzynski, who just missed homering his last time up in the 5th inning, when he doubled to knock in a run into right center field. A ball and a strike.
Pierzynski this season, coming over from Minnesota, got off to such a slow start with the Giants. Big adjustment to playing in this big ballpark, clearly a pitcher's park. Daytime the ball travels a little bit better. I asked him if the park started getting in his head a little bit. He said, I'd hit my best bolt and wouldn't go anywhere. But he said, it wasn't really the ballpark. He said, I was just crappy. He said, now I've started to swing the bat a little bit better.
Well, he had a monster month of July. As you get a look at the Cub bullpen, busy here. Maddox has reached the 80 pitch mark. That ball hammered down the right field line, but foul. So the left-hander Kent Merker, the right-hander John Lester getting warmed up. Maddox had back-to-back complete games in the middle of July. 9 innings, a 6-hit shutout against Milwaukee. Then went 9 innings, allowed 4 hits, 2 runs to beat Cincinnati. His last 2 starts, 6 innings. Base hit center field, and here come the Giants. Runners at first and second, and nobody out. While we have a free moment, let's take a game break and send it back to Los Angeles and Jeannie Velasco.
And it's El Duque back in the Bronx in more ways than one, shutting down the Blue Jays through 6+ innings and getting support from the bat of Bernie Williams. 2-run single. He now has 1,100 career RBI in pinstripes, passing Don Mattingly, 8th all-time in New York. 4-0 Yankees, bottom 6.
Larry Walkschild, the pitching coach for the Cubs, going to come out and visit with Maddox and Paul Bacco. Back-to-back base hits by Alfonso and Pierzynski to start this 6th inning. And that's going to be it for Greg Maddux. He's gone 5 innings, which would qualify him to get his 300th win. But the bullpen going to have to nail it down over the final 4 innings. Very warm reception for Greg Maddux from the crowd here in San Francisco. As he leaves after 5+ innings, Steve, his last at bat when he put down a sacrifice in the top of the 6th inning. We saw Maddox talking with the Cubs trainer down in their dugout. And again, this is all speculation, but you just got to wonder if he's all right.
I don't think he is.
For him in a moment. 2-2, the count on Torrey Almer. And there it is. LaTroy Hawkins puts the finishing touch to give Greg Maddux his 300th career win. The 22nd pitcher in the history of baseball to collect 300 wins in a career. Congratulations, Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux, originally drafted by the Chicago Cubs, left after winning a Cy Young Award to go to Atlanta. Signed a contract to return to Chicago during the offseason. Gets his 11th win of the season, and more importantly, the 300th of his major league career. Steve Lyons is standing by downstairs. Again, we're hoping to hear from Maddox on this historic day. Dusty Baker able to walk off the field tonight after getting a win, evening this series at a game apiece, and the Cubs will maintain their lead in the National League wildcard race. They began 1 game better than San Diego.
Greg, you've always been such a team guy, never worried about yourself, but now with 300 wins, just the 22nd guy in the history of the game to do it. Do you have to step back and think about your standing in the game?
Well, yeah, it's pretty cool. Today was, it wasn't really that easy today. you know, my teammates really picked me up big time. I know, you know, 6 runs. Everybody in the bullpen pitched. You know, all the relievers that have been there all year got a chance to pitch today, and you know, you got to have a lot of help along the way to kind of get something like that.
Have you proved anything to the game of baseball, being a guy who's relied on pinpoint control and movement, rather than a guy that's had a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, that you can pitch and pitch with success that way?
Well, you know, I've always believed that if you can locate your fastball and change speeds, you know, you can get just about anybody out. And, you know, it's kind of hard to hear, man.
Yeah, no question. Well, hey, let's cheering for you. 1987, you're 6-14. Do you ever believe at this time, at this day, you're standing here with 300 wins after that season?
Oh, no, not for a second. I was just hoping I didn't have to go back to Iowa back then. I think, you know, first year was tough, and, you know, you try to learn and get a little bit better each year, and, you know, just try to do that, you know, for the last 15, 16 years.
And you've done it. Hey, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
All right. Hey, Jeannie and Kevin, maybe the last member of the 300 Club, the 22nd member in the history of the game. Let's go back to you guys in the studio.